Hey guys, welcome back to the Men's Forum, your guide to being a better man. On this podcast, we talk about anything to do with finances, men's mental health, fitness, and anything else that will help you to maneuver through the difficulties of life as a man. We're your hosts, Rajveer and Shalene, and today we're going to be talking about manifestation.
It's a topic that I think you deeply practice. I think we both deeply practice.
We both deeply
Yeah.
practice for sure.
Yeah. What do you think manifesting is?
Manifestation is basically putting yourself in a mindset, in the right mindset, to sort of work with the universe to bring things to you instead of having to put so much force in your reality to get those things. So for example, if I want a car, then I would kind of sit and meditate on what it would feel like to get a car. It's kind of like a prayer to the universe or to God or higher power or anything like that. And you kind of download the actions that are needed to get that car. So there is that level of putting in action to get whatever it is you want. You can't just sit and
Yeah, it's gonna
some
happen,
people do that, which is crazy, but that's kind of what I believe manifestation is.
So far, if we're to talk about manifesting,
Wait,
How-
I want to know what your definition of manifestation is first.
so for me, I feel like manifesting has always been being very mindful about what you want, because the more you practice about being mindful about what you want, as you said, the higher power, the supreme energy, it will give it to you as long as you're working for it. It's been a lot of years of just being very positive, mindful, manifesting, be like, okay, I want this, but also keeping in mind just not materialistic stuff. I'd be like, I want a better life. I've not put it's not quantifiable, but yes, the life is getting better. I want my mom to have a better life. I want her to live in a better house. I want to have inner peace. I want to be strong, mentally strong. These are things that I've manifested and it's worked for me. Even relationships, right? I think you have to manifest that you want someone who is good, which has worked out for me,
Yeah.
and someone who meets you on the same wavelength. And manifesting positively and mindfully, I think the impact is always great. It won't happen immediately. I'm sure even you've been through your journey where you know that it doesn't happen immediately, but it manifesting works.
I feel like for manifesting, we're always manifesting. And I think a lot of people who hear that term manifesting
Yeah.
just means manifesting good things. But like I said, you're always manifesting. So
Yeah.
you're also manifesting
Yeah.
the bad things. And that's not something that should scare someone.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have the awareness that if you can manifest bad, that means if you switched certain things in your head, mindset wise, you could
Yeah.
then flip that into manifesting good things into
True.
your life,
True.
right?
True.
So what's kind of like your journey, or how did you get into manifesting? How were you made aware of that?
So my background is finance, right? So when you're making trades, and when I was studying all that, you work on your instincts, right?
Okay.
But when you're watching some movies and you're reading some books, and you see people manifest a certain level of trades depending on their instincts, and it works out. But these are like short-term manifestations.
Yeah.
And for example, let's take the cryptocurrency now as a general, right? There are people who believed and manifested that this X cryptocurrency from $100 today it's going to go up to $80,000.
Yeah.
People kept their mind like very strong and set to it that this is where I will sell,
Yeah.
and it's happened.
Yeah.
Right? It's just not that trade, but then I realized that people who strongly believe in something and strongly want something, it really happens. So let me talk about the general thing. Yeah, I've always liked cars. You know me. I love my cars. I'm always checking out cars. I'm like, look, bro, look at this, look at this.
Yeah.
So I
Always
manifest.
spamming me.
Yeah. So I manifested my first car. It was a Mitsubishi Colt Ralliart. Nice performance car. It's low, small one. So everyone calls it a pocket rocket. Manifested it. When I started earning money, despite my challenges, I managed to get a really good deal from one of my ex-directors. And yeah, so I got it, served my purpose, and then now I wanted something more.
How did you manifest the car? Like, did
I
you
would
kind of
keep
have a-
looking it. I'd be like, I want it. One day I'm going to get it. I would positively think about it. Like, I'd be like, I'm going to have this car. I'm going to work hard about it. You know, in my mind, I'm already attracting that energy around me that that car is going to be with me.
Okay.
And somehow it's like the way you say the universe listened to me.
Yeah.
I got a good deal. I got a good car, a clean one.
But you weren't. So, sorry to cut you on
Yeah.
your story and just keep your thought. But just a question in that, when you said you wanted the car, you know, there's a lot of things that people want in their lives that they say, I want this. I really want it so bad, and they
Yeah.
never get it. So, what's the difference between the way you surrounded yourself with the positivity of I want this car and I'm going to
Yeah.
have it versus I want it so bad
Yeah.
and not getting it?
Also, like as you said, I measured my want. Is it
Okay.
within my limits, right? Is it
Okay.
within my range of, can I achieve that
Okay.
at this short-term period? If let's say if I have a 10-year goal, if within the first 3 years, if that want is achievable,
Mm-hmm.
can I manifest for it? You have to be very consciously mindful at the back of your mind. Can you really get it? So I'll be like, hey, Rajveer, let's start a small business. You know, let's start a small retail shop. Is it achievable? Can we manifest for it? And be like, yeah, we'll manage. Let's do this. But we can't sit and be like, hey, we want to manifest to be the biggest brand in the world. In 3 months, it's not going to be possible, right?
Okay.
If you're going to manifest, for example, be like, hey, I want to vlog Italy in 3 months, each and every corner of it. Is it possible? No, it's not possible. But you manifested that, hey, I want to go to Italy. You managed to go to Italy. And
yeah.
you did what you had to do, right? That's why. So my manifesting journey has been in bits.
So you were
So-
talking about the car, then you were going into
Yeah.
the next.
So yeah, so I got my first small car. Then I manifested a Subaru Forester, a bigger performance car. I got the
Oh, wow.
Subaru Forester, and then now I'm driving something that I wanted after that.
Yeah.
This is just an example of the cars. In terms of my relationships, I always wanted something that's really good, but every time I'd manifest something, in that short time it would not work. Then something would lock for not to work. But then I took time off, and I'm like, I sat down and it's like speaking to the universe, right? Like, please, I want something that is going to, of course, you want someone who adds value to your life, who supports you, who meets you at the same wavelength, and also think about it, you're going to be together for like a lot of years,
Forever,
right?
hopefully, until
Forever,
you die.
right? And that is what happened, right, in terms of my relationship. And then manifesting a better life. I manifested, I don't want to be greedy for lavishness, luxury. I just want a very good, better life. I want the people around me to be happy. I want to give my mother a better life than she ever had, to give my family a better life than they ever had. And because the journey that we've been through, which I guess in the future podcast we'll talk about our personal journeys, we've had it rough and tough, right? And you know, that's why now I feel like, hey, I am getting to a better place. But every morning I'm like, I vision. I don't vision like an extreme, but I vision something neutral that I feel is very achievable.
You mentioned that the first thing you manifested was your car, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, I want it. I
Yeah.
got it. Did you kind of read about manifestation, or did someone tell you about it, or
So-
like when you were thinking of this car, like at the back of your mind, did you know manifestation exists? I can actually manifest it.
To be honest, no.
Okay.
So in that particular period when I was thinking about all this must be about 2017. So we're talking about 6 years ago.
Okay.
Rough 6 years ago, 2017, 2018. I think at that time I didn't realize like manifesting really works till
Okay.
I think now YouTube and I think Instagram and stuff started coming with shorts. So I personally I would not watch anything longer than half an hour or 1 hour, anything that's adding value to for learning or wisdom or anything
Okay.
like TED Talks or something like that. So when I was watching shorts and stuff, like, so this guy, I forgot his name, but he mentioned about the power of manifestation.
Okay.
It was so deep, it made me self-reflect. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I have been practicing this, indirectly not knowing that I have been manifesting for all these things. Yes, I've been thinking about it like very consciously, and I know that I'm aware that I'm thinking about all these things in a very positive way, and it's really moving me to that direction. And then we have a friend called Kush, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he speaks highly about all these practices and the
Yeah.
books that he reads and everything.
Yeah.
And then having conversations with other people, including yourself in the past, now it makes more and more sense,
Oh, okay.
right?
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it's so far been good. I think you can expound more on your journey. I think you have a way deeper meaning of manifestation compared to I
To
do,
you,
which we've
yeah.
had a conversation before. So I think you can tell us more about how you started,
Yeah.
or what triggered you to start a couple of years ago, and how it's worked out for you so far.
So I have actually been into manifestation not even a couple of years, dude. It's been at least 8-ish years, maybe 9. I didn't know anything about manifestation. I was just like a normal guy, just living my life. I got into a long-term relationship. That relationship ended. So I was like trying to do everything to, make it work. And then there was another girl in my life at the same time. And like she was playing, bro. Like she was playing. So like I was depressed on both ends. I'm like, okay, I have like my ex, and then there's this girl, and like nothing's working out for me in my love life. And then so I started feeling my self-esteem started dropping. I was in uni at the time, first year dentistry.
Damn.
Yeah. So with all the studies and everything, I just couldn't cope. One of my best friends at the time, he's like, I'm seeing how your mood is. It's kind of off. There's this book I've been reading, and it's really helped me, build a better life for myself mentally, and just from the things I'm seeing coming into my life. This book has been amazing. So the book is called The Magic by Rhonda Bynes. It's the same lady who wrote the book The Secret.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've read The Secret. Yeah.
So The Secret is all about the law of
Yeah.
attraction, but I'll get to that in a second. So The Magic was I think her second book, and it was how to use gratitude to manifest more in your life. So me at the time, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna manifest my ex back, and I'm gonna use gratitude. But weirdly, it kind of worked. So let me explain to you a little bit of how that book kind of gave the tips, and then I'll get into how that kind of worked, which is a crazy story. So you feel grateful for the things that you have now in your life, and that kind of trains your brain to stop looking at the negatives. You start looking at the positives. And like we've said, if you're constantly looking at negative things, manifestation will bring you negative things. And if you look at positive things, you get more positive things. So the practices were like, okay, I'm grateful that I've woken up in the morning, I'm grateful that I breathe, I'm grateful that I have friends, I'm going to school, blah blah blah, right? Then you take that even a step further, and you start being grateful for the things that you want as if you already have them. So I was like, okay, like how you mentioned, you first manifested your car within limits, and then you manifested a better car. That's kind of how then I started trying it out. So I'm like, okay, I was getting into photography at the time. I had like this really entry-level camera. I wanted something better. So I wrote like this check to myself, and I'm like, and I dated it 6 months from the time I wrote it, and I'm like, I'm very grateful that I got this amount of money to buy my camera. So the crazy thing is, I'm just going to just go on a tangent a little bit, is that we're logical creatures. And when certain things happen, you test them and you prove to yourself that it actually works, your belief in that becomes stronger. So when your belief gets stronger, then it's easier to use those tactics to manifest. So back to the story of that ex at the time, I was manifesting a better relationship between us. So that was more of like a friendship. I didn't see her as someone who I would get married to, but I did appreciate the fact that we were really close, and I wanted that friendship to work. So she actually got into makeup in the industry, in the wedding industry. We started working together. Like I was taking pictures, and like she was doing makeup for my models, and then we became friends from there. So that relationship worked out. So then from there, I started getting deeper into like, I wanted to know more. I'm always hungry for more information on, especially things like this. If you can like magically create your life, like why would you not want to learn more about that? That's always been my mindset. So then I got the book The Secret. So The Secret was about positive thinking, similar to gratitude, but like more positive thinking, and the law of attraction. That leads into like meditation in the morning. Sometimes people wake up and you feel like, oh, man, why I feel like shit. So why not change that by focusing on meditation and then bringing yourself into a different mood, which is okay. I've woken up. I know I felt like shit then, but now I've meditated and now I'm feeling better. So these better vibes, these feeling good vibes, is what attracts into your life, right? So I think it still does line with gratitude,
Yeah.
right? Because you're still focusing on the positives. So that's how I got into law of attraction. So then my entire vlogging career, my entire journey of quitting dentistry and building my wedding photography career was all just based on me visioning, like through meditations and through being grateful that wow, I'm getting to travel Thailand. That feels amazing. Wow, I'm getting like so many subscribers. That feels amazing. I'm making more money out of this. That feels amazing. So these are things that I would meditate on and it would happen. So then later on, there was something that kind of changed and took me even deeper. I was this guy, like, so I wanted a relationship really badly. I wasn't in a relationship ever since that ex for like 4 years or 5 years or something like that. And I realized that when it came to women, I was always chasing. And I was always reading up on like pickup artist tactics on like chasing and so that was kind of like in my reality, I needed to like do this hard work to get. And that never worked out for me. So then I remembered my manifestation. I had this like thinking one night. I'm like, you know what, screw it. I'm not going to chase anymore. I'm just going to write down on a piece of paper what I want in a woman. And I'm just gonna say, universe, you know what, bring it. You want to bring it, cool. You don't want to, fuck it, I don't care. I'm just gonna live my best life. And like just 3 weeks later, I met one of the most amazing girls that I've ever met in my life, and we connected so quickly. We got into a relationship so fast, right? And I found that paper a couple of months down our relationship, and I'm like, whoa, I actually wrote this down, and she's the exact. So from there, I learned a deeper thing about manifestation is like, if you want something, you have to let go of the fear and you have to let go of the resistance towards getting that something.
True.
And you kind of need to show up relaxed in your life. You need to
Let the process be.
let the process be. So it's kind of like having faith and trust in the universe, in the higher power, God. So nowadays, how I think of manifestation is it's my prayer to the universe, and I let it go. And by let it go, it doesn't mean I don't want what I've said I want. I've let go of the fear, the resistance towards getting that thing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how my journey into manifestation has been.
And do you think 100% of your manifestation has been achieved, or part of it?
I think what you said about the quantifiable.
Yeah.
You see, at the end of the day, like I mentioned, we're logical creatures,
Yeah,
and we
true.
think logically. So sometimes at the back of your mind, even though like this thing has proven itself so many times,
True.
it's like, is this actually going to work out? So when you give yourself smaller, bite-sized goals,
Yeah.
like, okay, maybe if I say 2 million, making that in a month, that's going to raise a lot of resistance in my mind. So I'll say, okay, you know what, let me make 100,000.
Yeah.
I can, that feels better in my body,
True.
right?
True.
And then when you get to 100,000, you can say, okay, now 500,000,
Yeah, true.
now 1 million. So that's kind of where I'm at. And so that's why I say like I've achieved part manifestations. And then from there now, like building into the full manifestations.
Or could it be the other part that was not manifested was not actually meant to be, right? If you think about it, right? Because we always say, oh, everything happens for
A reason.
for a reason or
So-
for the better.
Actually, it's good that you brought that up, There's another part of manifestation that's very important. It's what you believe in. What you believe in is what happens in your life. And beliefs are subconscious. Beliefs are things that have been programmed into you when you were a kid, okay? And what people say, what society says, what your friends say. So some of these beliefs are stuff like, if it's meant to be, it would be, right? But if you actually realize that you're the one in power of your life, anything that you want to be will be, whether it's good or bad for you. If you believe that anything I want, I can get, and anything that I want is meant for me. So that's one of my biggest beliefs is, if I want it, I have it in a parallel universe, so it's already mine. So it's meant for me. I don't think that as a human you come into this life wanting things and being punished not getting them. Like there's a reason you want something. I believe that way. And I believe when you let go of the resistance and the fear towards that something that you want, you do get it. But there is a whole number of lessons that the universe will be like, okay, fine, that thing maybe in societal terms is it's not meant for you. The universe will take you through a journey to learn the things that you need to learn so that that thing can eventually be meant for you.
I think all of us as human beings come down to Earth, or probably born on Earth, for one reason. We all have a purpose, right?
Yeah.
Which I think everyone finds it very, very, very difficult to understand what's their purpose in life, right? I don't think we're ever going to live more than 50 to 60 with the current lifestyles and the current foods that we eat.
Okay. That's your belief. Look at this guy. Like, he's just going to manifest these things into his life.
So, trust me, we have a bad life. So when you're manifesting at the back of your mind, are you still keeping in mind that, hey, this is my purpose? Does, like, now everything that is happening around your purpose, is it through the power of manifesting?
Yes. There is that element of knowing your purpose. So for me, and I feel like the whole idea of purpose, I think, changes over the course of your life.
Of course, for sure.
Right? And I think it changes in relation to who is around you. So I'll give you an example of what I mean. When I was a kid, my purpose was to, go to school, get good grades, right? But as I grew older, my purpose was to, maybe bring some money home and settle the family. And that still is my purpose right now. But there's also deeper purposes that I feel like I have. I see my parents and I see the kind of traumas that they went through in their life. And I feel like one of my purposes is to alleviate them of those traumas by teaching them all the things that I've learned. I look at my siblings and I see, okay, my purpose is to show them that we can have a deeper relationship as siblings. So I think just based on the circumstances that are happening in life and in relation to who, that's kind of where your purpose starts developing. Now we have this brotherhood between us guys, right? And doing this podcast is now a purpose, right? And it's something that just comes up over time. Like, I went through a phase in my life where I felt very alone, and now a new purpose has come to me where I'm like, okay, I want other men to know how to navigate life. So I just feel like purpose is continuously changing as you go through life. Now, once you figure out, okay, this is my purpose, then now there's the wants, right? So you don't fall off your purpose chasing the wants, and that's where the problem is with manifestation, right? If you want something so badly that you're moving away from your purpose, then that's kind of the place where you're putting too much pressure onto that want that you don't get it.
I'm sure even when you will self-reflect one day, you'll be like, oh yeah, this was what I was thinking, this was my purpose.
Yeah.
And somehow, through that, the bits and, being thrown down, being elevated, being thrown down, being elevated, and somehow you reach there. And then you'll be like, hey, like 5 years ago, this is what I thought.
Yeah.
And here I am.
Yeah.
S-
It's crazy that you actually say that. A lot, and yeah, just in line with manifestation, a lot of times certain downs have to happen in your life so that you can
Sure.
reach that purpose that you truly wanted. So example would be like, this brotherhood that
Yeah.
we've had recently, and you see I always
Yeah.
keep talking about it on Instagram, right? If I had not gone through like a breakup, and if I was not through that phase of my life where I'm like, okay, I need to see how I can add other things into my life and I need to make an effort with friends, I don't think this brotherhood would have formed, because like if I was just in my relationship, we would have maybe met up and that we would
Yeah.
have just called that
Yeah, we should
what
just
it
be
is.
like, hi, hello, how's it going?
Yeah. So certain things, I mean, when you want something, you it doesn't necessarily have to happen, but sometimes you might lose something in order to gain something else. But the other crazy thing is you can lose something to gain something and then gain what you lost. So the crazy thing about this,
Life is life is
yeah,
very
life is
funny.
crazy.
Yeah, life is very funny.
We're all connected, right? And I feel like you don't necessarily ever lose anything. And why I say this is because in this entire journey, I've had like best friends like just cut me off, and then a couple of years later we reconnect and like everything's just great. But I had to lose those best friends in order for a certain other part of
Yeah.
my life, or me to understand other aspects of my life, and then those best friends
Yeah.
come in and you're just like, huh, okay. So that falls into the whole trust the process.
But sometimes you need to lose people in your life. I'm not saying necessarily like your best friends, what happened to you, but when you lose people in your life, think about this. It's like an anchor on a ship. The moment you let go of the
Yeah,
anchor,
yeah.
right, the ship sails
The ship
smoothly,
sails.
yeah?
Yeah.
And that is how it works. So with me, I've had so many friends in my life where people who were indirectly pulling me down, who are very toxic, who were liars, who would put up a persona that doesn't work. But then with time, I realized that that was on them, not on me, right? So when I started cutting them down, and then now the people that I hang out with, it's very healthy. They help me again with my purpose. Like if I'll be like, this is what I want to do in life. I have elder friends. These are people who've even experienced a lot in life, and they'll be like, hey, this is what you should do. So again, my purpose, my manifesting, someone or the other with healthy friendships, healthy conversations, that guides you and opens up that path
Yeah.
a little, right?
Yeah.
And now you start seeing things clearly.
Yeah.
Because yes, people have gone through more experiences than us, probably more downfalls,
Yeah.
more they've gone through the highest of life or the lowest of life. I've come across so many, and then I keep learning more and more. And again, if someone's making a mistake, you will not make the same mistake.
you won't make
In
the
this
same
life,
mistake.
we don't know everything. As you said, you always want to learn something new. You're very, aggressive in knowing that
Yeah.
I want to learn something new. I want to be wiser. So, yeah, like I think, of course, it's just not the power of manifesting, but there's so much more at the back of it, which I know we can keep talking and talking.
Yeah, you
and
can just
talking
keep going deeper and deeper into
about it. Yeah,
The universe is way smarter than us. I mean, it's the freaking universe, right? God is every single person that's brought into your life. Like now, if you like, just let's go with the podcast analogy. I mean, we've started it, and like this is a purpose, right? And we're positive about it. We have no resistance, no fear. We're actually doing this. It's like the universe would be like, huh, okay, I'm gonna support these guys. Let me send someone to kind of give them a little bit of advice here, or let me send someone to tell them, hey, this is cool. Do you want to get into like the marketing of what this kind of looks like? It just supports you.
True.
Again, when you let go of all that fear and all that resistance towards it, you said you don't necessarily like practice anything for your manifestations.
It's very frequent, mindful,
Okay,
positive.
just being
manifesting,
mindful
yes.
about
Yeah,
the things
yeah.
in your life.
I mean, you're pushing me to meditate and stuff.
I am pushing you to meditate.
I am getting into it. I'm that person who has started,
Yeah.
but I'm not as frequent as you. But whenever I do it, it is great.
I think
it's amazing.
I think from this whole conversation we've had, right? The reason why I tell you to meditate, or why I recommend anyone else to meditate, it grounds you and centers you. It makes you let go of your fears and your anxieties. When your mind is quiet, you can focus more on what you're supposed to do. And when you focus on what you're supposed to do, you're more present. And without those fears, again, like I mentioned, the universe supports you. So that's why, I think manifesting a good life goes very hand in hand with mental health, which is, of course, over the period of these podcasts we're going to talk about. Do you have a couple of tips for anyone watching this about if they want something, how can they kind of manifest it into their lives? Do you kind of have like a strategy?
I think the first thing they need to do is clear their mind, right? We have good things in our mind and trash in our mind.
Yep.
So like clear up, have a
Clear the trash.
Let's say, think about it, right? We are driving to Naivasha, right? You'll pass Naivasha through the escarpments, you'll pass through buildings, civilization, you'll find new factories coming up, a new railway line coming up. But the moment you reach the lake is plain, there's not being disturbed, it's just there. Nothing is disturbing the lake. That's how your mind should be, clear. Right?
Wait, why why did you go all the way to Naivasha to tell me about a lake, bro?
I want you to imagine that is how your mind should be the moment you start manifesting.
Yeah.
Because that is what will help you. You know, like when you're manifesting, your mind has to be super calm, super clear, and also
hence the meditation.
And now this is when you'll be like, okay, this is what I want, right? I want to probably have a better life from XYZ and elevate it to something better. Then you envision it. That is what I did. And then I'm like, okay, what's next? This is my purpose. This is what I do. I want to help people, blah, blah. Practice it. Be like, this is what I want to do. And then number 3, of course, being grateful for what you already have, because we always have it better than what other people have in life. Because sometimes people will be like, oh, my life is shit, this is bad, blah, 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 blah. But remember, you have to be grateful for what you have so that all this of the above can work.
Yeah. Yep.
And trust me, it works. And as you do it way more frequently.
Yeah.
But for me, as whenever I've done it and I've been clear about what I want, and it's good things, it's not causing anyone harm, not causing myself harm, and elevating lives around me, it works. It works. And starting with me, sometimes even I'll be like, hey, you need to think about yourself.
Yeah.
So I want my inner peace, I want my calmness, I want to be a good person, I want to have a decent life. And it's somehow working out. I'm not lying to you, like where I was 10 years ago and where I am.
Yeah, guys, have you seen this living room? have you seen this?
So it's crazy. And remember, I told you 2020, I had 4 plastic chairs in my house, and with a lot of debt. And life has worked out well. We work hard, we hustle. You know, in Kenya we're called hustlers. But we make it happen. And whatever I do, I make sure that I'm not hurting anyone, I'm not doing anything wrong. I want to sleep in peace. And I think those are the few tips I can give.
But you've mentioned mindfulness. Just for somebody who doesn't really understand the meaning of mindfulness, what do you kind of mean when you say that word?
For me, the word mindful for me is like being consciously aware.
Okay.
Of whatever you're doing. So remember in your actions, sometimes you can't practice it, of course, like 24/7, but whenever you're doing conversations, whenever you're practicing something, let's say even at work, or anything that you're doing in life, you have to be consciously aware of that action or what you're saying. And the moment, automatically, when you tell your mind that, hey, be mindful about, think about it, when you're having it, like, be mindful about what you're about to say. It might hurt someone, right?
Yeah.
That word triggers like, hey, before I say something, I need to think. Like, what I'm saying, is it going to hurt that person? Is it going to, or what I want, is it actually, probably achievable or not? What about you? What do you feel, some tips that you can give in terms of what you've learned throughout your life?
First of all, yeah, I love how you mentioned the lake analogy, even though you went all the way to Naivasha for no reason. When you have a still mind, it's much easier to focus on the things that you want. So that's why I say meditate. And meditation isn't just like sitting and being silent. Like you can do the breathing exercises, like I told you, right? Nervous system regulation. If you don't know what that means, just like go and search it up. But yeah, nervous system regulation every morning, every night, and then not letting. So sometimes what I've found is that everyone has opinions. Are those opinions good? Are they bad? You're not really always sure, right? So when people have opinions, take them with a grain of salt. So for example, if like for us, we came from humble beginnings. If we listened to the people who told us that it's not going to work out for you, we would have stayed where we were.
True.
Right? So those types of opinions, people may say them out of love or out of a way to protect you. They may say it maliciously, but you need to take that information and say, do I want to believe in this or do I want to believe in something else? So we have an inner world and we have an outer world. If you can trust your inner world deeply, so by exercise every single day, that's why people do affirmations. I am amazing, I am amazing, I am amazing. Then you start believing that to yourself. So if you come to me and you tell me, Rajveer, you're not amazing, I'll tell you, you know what, I don't care. I know I am amazing. So using affirmations daily in your circumstances for what you want, and believing those things, that's a good practice. Again, being grateful for everything that you have and looking at those instead of looking at what you don't have, because what you don't have will eventually come. You just need to be very grateful for where you are now. Acceptance is a huge thing, accepting things for what they are. There was a really great quote that I heard a couple of days ago, actually. Acceptance, when you accept things, is the only way you can change things. But if you don't accept, you can't change. You can't change whatever it is that you want to change in this life. So when you say, okay, you know what, yeah, that was a horrible thing that happened, I accept it. Now I'm going to start focusing on this thing changing. Because in this world, everything is like very dynamic.
Yeah.
Things don't just like,
True.
Things are always ever changing.
It's like a chapter in a book, right?
It's a chapter in a book.
When the chapter is over, you still need to move on.
Yeah,
reading
there's
to
more.
The next
Yeah,
chapter.
that's a couple of tips that I have for the peoples out there
No, super,
in positive
super.
thinking. Oh, wait. There is one thing. There's this element of toxic positivity. You're fooling yourself and you're trying to believe something, but in your reality, like, it's very apparent that something is not believable. I'll put it in other ways, in another way. So I'm constantly exposing myself to a circumstance.
Okay.
But in my brain, I'm kind of lying to myself. But then,
okay, I understand.
so
So you're being like delusional about something, but it's actually putting you down.
Yeah, it's actually putting you down. So in my mind, I'm deteriorating my mind because my mind's not actually fully believing, but I've tricked myself that, oh, I need to think positive so that positive things happen. That's called toxic positivity. What I would do in such situations is I'd cut myself off from the stimulus of that circumstance. Then I can start training my brain. For people going through maybe toxic relationships, this could be something that can can really help, right?
But we're talking about that in one of our
That's a
next
complete,
podcast. About
no, but I mean in terms of
relationships, yeah.
manifestation, right? You can't lie to yourself with like positivity, and there's a certain level of resistance that comes up in your mind, but you're forcing that resistance by saying no, like everything's okay. I've been told I have to think positively, so I have to think you kind of again need to look at acceptance. There's a fine balance between that. So toxic positivity also could be very harmful to mental health.
True.
So those are kind of the different balances. I mean, like, this is a completely deep topic to get into as well, toxic positivity. But I mean, if Guys, you can go and search that
yeah.
up.
We can have a podcast about it soon.
We can have
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
cool. That's a good podcast idea.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think with we have so much that's
There's a
coming.
lot,
There's
yeah.
a lot that's coming
A
through.
lot of episodes.
And yeah, guys,
If anyone's getting into manifestation, then
yeah.
try it out. Let us know in the comments what you guys think about manifestation.
You can give us your tips, probably
you
of
can give
what
us
you're
your tips.
practicing, and if it has worked out for you, what is that you're doing different that can probably make the process better,
Yeah.
for sure.
And if you think it's a whole bunch of bullshit, just let us.
Let us
We won't believe you though. It's worked out way too much. But I
Yeah.
love your journey. Thank you so much for sharing,
Yeah.
man. Like
Yeah, likewise, yeah.
yeah.
Too many
You're
more.
you're a
yeah.
very smart dude, man. This is why I love you, man. Yeah,
I think you're the creative chap, yeah. Like, guys, if when you see all the edits, it's him.
I am
Yeah.
here. I'll cut out most of this guy's stuff. Anyways, I'm just messy. So thank you so much for listening. If you guys have any questions, we'd love to hear from you in the comments, or you can send us a direct message, anything like that. And we will see you guys next week so that you don't have to go through being a man alone. All right.
Like,
Cheers.
share, and subscribe.